So we have a first-time speaker, which is really exciting. Don't forget to look at the different conferences we have going on next year, because there are many opportunities to speak and share what you're learning and experimenting with in the API community space. So I would like to call Frank to the stage, please. And you're on mute. So let's unmute. There
Hi.
we go. Thank you so much. Welcome, Frank.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll share your slides, make sure they're in big screen. And what made you want to speak about this? What made you want to join today, Frank?
Yes. So hello everyone. So I'm glad to be here. So it's my first time to be here as speaker. I first attended Apidays in 2018. I learned a lot at this conference, so I'm happy to have this opportunity to share back with community. So today I'm talking about API governance, the pursuit of consistency. Okay. Should I go? Go. Okay. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about my background and myself. So, my name is Frank Tagné. I'm working in Axa Partners. I spent last 10 years in modeling interface between systems. That's is using formalized language from not formalized language like UML to formalized one. So designing interface, now I'm working with REST and YAML to design API. So on LinkedIn, if you have questions or if you want to challenge me, I'm fine. I will be happy to have a debate. After the conference, I love arguments. I am also on Twitter, but I don't really use it. The agenda is, so I will talk about API consistency of API in Axa, and I will explain why it's very important and what we put in place to keep and guarantee consistency in our API. Okay, Axa Partners. I guess you already heard about Axa. It's a world leader in insurance. So Axa Partners is an entity of Axa that is dedicated to building and building innovative solutions with partners that that is on 7 sector. We have seven domain. We have automotive, we have mobility, housing, travel, consumers, good and electronics, health, credit insurance, legal protection. So we have various type of domain where AXA is involved. AXA is present in 40 countries, 9 regions. So we face here, our challenge is we have teams that is very decentralized in many countries, many teams with different culture. And our challenge is when we making APIs is to put all things together and make it very cohesive and consistent API. We practice design first, API first. And we currently have nearly 1,000 of API, and it's growing very fast each year, so around 30%. I also put the link of our public portal. So if you want to have a look. Um, I I will go straight. Consistency, in my opinion, is the key. When you're working with API governance, there is a lot of definition about API governance. Some of its governance is making sure that things is done in the right way and make difficult to do things in the different way. So for me, more than doing it the right way, we need to do it one way. That's the thing. We should make sure to do it one way, and I think that is the most important thing. Sorry. Um, Also, API governance is making API discoverable, compliant, reusable, and secure. All those property, I think consistency is the key for all those properties. Consistency, first of all, consistency um, allow API to be easily discovered. Having one API that is structured one way and another API that is designed completely different way is harder for people to guess or find how things interact. If you govern process that can ensure that all the API is exposed similar, you have similar names, similar standard, similar controls that will put all your API looks like uniform, and that is also allow your API to be more easy to consume as well. So if you don't focus on making things easy and consistent, the your consumer have to discover your API first. Uh, having API that uniform is also simplifying you from any change or maintaining API, because you have you just change from one way to another. Okay, that's the point. Another thing is when you consistency is the thing that when you make it wrong, a start is hard to correct after. So that's why I think consistency is the key, and and that's why we put things in place to ensure that we are consistent as much as possible. Another thing is, if your API is consistent, your consumer can easily find and guess how to use your API, and that will remove an amount of support that is required for new consumers. So consistency enable discovery, enable compliance, consistency enable reusability and security. So that's why consistency is the key, and we need to put things to ensure that part. So we have 4 points to keep consistent our API. We have guidelines, pipeline, organization, and tools. So we will see it in the following slides. So guidelines. We in Axa Partner, we define how we want to ensure consistency. We define rules that we want to follow, rules that our API need to comply with. So we have different rules. There are some examples that are listed here, like Does the API have description? That is the simple one. We have does API have example? That is important for consumers to use your API. Are the operation I use correctly? When do I need to use post or put? That's some question that we can have, and we have to keep consistent on that question. Sorry. Are we using HTTP code appropriately? API security, is it properly configured for each pass of our API? Our API is that in the right group? What is group here is like category is means we can see group as a set of API that form an API product. Does my API follow name convention? Does my API reuse existing data model? So that will avoid duplication and so on. Is my API's version correctly? Did that have version on at the URL? So we have a list of rules that we want to apply on our API. We have rules that are, let's say, formalized and we can run, we can automate, and we have those rules that need human to check it. So that's why in my next slide we will see organization. So organization is very important. How we organize and how we are organized to make sure that every rules are applied. So in Axa, as we've seen, there are very decentralized teams. Each team design his API, and our challenge is to keep all those APIs consistent. Each teams in different country, different culture. What we have many, we have some let's say practice. So we have an API design authority that is a selected member. We have a central team, is API of a Center of API Excellence that is here to write rules and help team to apply those rules and make team to learn and train. So we have an API design authority. We have a community of practice that we animate. It's very important to animate the community. We onboard every new member. We make trainings. We have documentations to make sure that we have the same way of thinking. Okay. Besides organization, we have pipeline. We have process. We are looking for automation. We look to automate as much as possible. So there is rules that can be formalized. We use this process. That is the process for submission in new API. So when a designer for a chain want to submit a new API, that is the process. The first thing is we have a centralized repository that have all the API. That is very important, and that repository is version. We have a version control. So the first step when a contributor want to submit a new API, they need to check out the files, make a copy of the files of the repository, in local, so they make the copy of the design of the files. After they make a copy, they write his specification, they write a clear goal of the new change, of the new submission. So they open a new pull request. So they submit a new pull request. We have some standards that we use: Open API version 3 and YAML 1.2. The next step is the build. Each specification is built, and all the build resolve all external reference, combine all the specification, and validate the syntax with JSON validator. This is very important because we can design specification with just small bunch of file that concern our specification, and that specification is combined with all other specification, and all the specification is validated and make sure that all is good. So the next step is linter. We use linter. Linter is where we put rules that can be automatically applied. So we have a config file where we write rules. We have rules like example must be present, description must be present, description must have a uppercase, property name must be in snake case. That is important because it can be cumbersome to have one API in camel case, another in snake case. So these rules and many others, much complicated one, are verified automatically each time the contributors submit a new API or a new change on an existing API. What is very important here is we try to automate as much as possible to keep only what cannot be automated for review. That is the next step. We have now nearly 80 custom rules, and adding a new rules is very easy, and we use Spectral. It's an open source linter, so I let you go on the website. It's very easy to find. The linter also return immediate and very descriptive feedback. We have error and warnings that will help the designer to have a very short loop and correct each error and warning to go fast and be compliant with rules. The contributors also have also can locally run the linter. So when they submit the pull request, every rules that is applied by the linter was already covered. So that can speed up the submission process. The next step is peer review. So we have a step for peer review. Peer review is, as we've seen on the first slide, not all rules can be formalized, not all rules can be automated. We have some we encourage using building blocks. When you want to use, let's say, an object or a model of a new a resource of car or vehicle, and that resource is already existing. So we encourage to reuse that existing resource instead of duplicate it. So that will fasten the review. So that is an important point. Reviewing is also the step where we need to avoid duplication in sense of um, to do not have two API that do the same thing. They can be spelled differently, but we during review we need to ask question. People from business can be involved to really understand the needs and make sure that we are designing the right API and making API that is very useful. So this peer review is after this peer review, the result is the reviewer should give his approval and make sure that not non-automatable rules are checked. After that step, after getting the approval, the API is integrated to the repository, combine and merge. So that is the process of submission of new API. After submission of new API, what is also important and what I call WYSIWYG, I will talk more about. So WYSIWYG, I think a lot of people already heard about WYSIWYG when they're working on front end on ESM. WYSIWYG is you must get what you specify, not less, not more. We need to ensure that what we get is what is specified. API is a contract, so as I said, let's comply to our contract. It's very, very important. It's important in many ways. It's important for our consumers. When they read when they read the contract, they need to be confident that our contract is what they will get when they will call our implementation. So we have in our API gateway a tools that compare what is really sent by the backend and what is specified, and there is a log file that is generated to with difference between both. So it's important, and we need to make decision and ask question if we need to change the specification or we need to change the implementation. Both are possible. That is very important, this step. So I finish with takeout. So whatever guidelines you choose, the most important thing is to be consistent. Use automation and building blocks as much as possible to speed up things. And also there's human in the process, so you will have depth, log depth, and plan for resolution. That is plan to fix it. That is very important. And the last thing is consistency is an ongoing initiative. It's a long-term job. Thank you very much.
Yeah, your boss is recruiting.
Yes, we are recruiting. My boss is very a kind one, so we will be glad to welcome new members.
That's great. Please, in the chat of the event, can you share the link to the jobs you're recruiting? So we can share with the community. And then,
I don't have the link here, but everyone that is interested can contact me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. That's
Yes.
great. Let's look for ways to connect and continue the conversation as a community. And then we did have one question that I wanted to ask real quickly that maybe you can share in the chat as well. But do you share publicly your API design guidelines? Like, do you have them anywhere that maybe is published, or is this something you're just reflecting on?
So there, our guidelines is not public, so we don't have a public guidelines, but we have I say, like I explained, we have two type of guidelines. Guidelines that is automatable. We put it in the linter. So linter is where we keep every word that can be automatable, and we have other guidelines that need human to be involved.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Frank. I think you did a great job. Feel good about your first talk, and I hope you'll apply to speak again. You shared some really valuable experience that your own organization has done and learned from. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here and hope to be also here next year.